Have you ever felt like life is happening to you instead of for you? This is what I call the victim mentality. And having a victim mentality is going to lead you to sabotaging any progress that you make in your life. So I used to live in New York City, metropolitan area, and I moved up right after the dot-com bust because I was an IT recruiter and I loved my job. But then all of a sudden, the dot-com bust happened and I ended up going to work and I had nothing to do. And I was ambitious and driven and I had dreams and I really wanted to do something that I loved. And so the dream of moving to New York City and having a creative career really called to me at that time. So I moved up there without a job. I had been interviewing for several months. My lease was up. I moved up there without a job. And just one thing after another seemed to be going wrong. And at that point, I was living in the first stage of our relationship with life, which is that life is happening to me. And this is where we really stand in a victim mentality. And I remember walking around and feeling like I was getting pushed around by life and that my higher power, who I choose to call God, was literally laughing at me. That's how I felt. I was at the very bottom of the victim mentality. And I remember getting so angry and frustrated with all the effort I was putting in, and just nothing that I wanted was happening. And so I even remember getting so mad, I just put my finger up and I completely flicked off God. I was so mad because I really felt like God was out to get me or life was out to get me. Whatever you choose to call your higher power, life breathing me was out to get me and it was not cheering me on. This was a very victim mentality. This was the lowest of the low. But what happened next is I eventually led to the point that I surrendered. I was so tired of struggling. I was so tired of forcing, and I finally started to wake up. And so that's what we first have to do. We first start becoming aware of the thoughts that we're having. And if we're finding that we're having a victim mentality, then we need to start writing those down. So I invite you, if you're noticing that you feel discouraged, depressed, frustrated, burnt out, exhausted, just kind of fed up with the results that you've had at this point, I invite you to start paying attention to the thoughts that you're having. And so I'm going to give you 3 tips of how to move from a victim mentality to a victor mentality, which will create a momentum towards creating the life that you would love. So the first step is awareness. And so what does awareness even mean? So if you're willing, I invite you right now, if you're able to close your eyes. If you're driving, of course, keep your eyes open, and you can still do this to some capacity, but it's more effective if you can close your eyes. So I'll close my eyes with you right now. So close your eyes, and I want you to breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth like you're breathing through a straw. Do that 2 more times as is comfortable to you. In and out. And one more time. And with your eyes closed, I invite you to pay attention to your feet. And what are your feet doing? Are they wearing socks? Are they cold? Are they wearing shoes? Pay attention to your feet. And now I want you to pay attention to where you're sitting or standing. And how does that feel? Are you sitting on the edge of a bed? Are you sitting in a car? Are you sitting in a hard seat, a soft seat? Pay attention to how you're feeling. And then I want you to shift your focus to your shoulders. Are they relaxed? Do you feel tension there? Are you dropping them? Are you pushing them back? Are they hunched over? How are your shoulders feeling? And now I want you to move your attention to the top of your head. All right. Now, one more deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth like you're breathing through a straw. You can now open your eyes if you have closed them. So, how are you able to observe? This is your observation self. And who is even observing? This is your higher self observing your body. You can do the same thing with your thoughts. So that's how we become aware of our thoughts, is we start paying attention to our thoughts. And so anytime you're feeling those feelings that I just went through, frustrated, depressed, discouraged, just kind of fed up, I invite you to pay attention to your thoughts, because your thoughts create your feelings. And so if you're feeling contractive feelings like anger, frustration, discouragement, it's coming from your thoughts. And so I invite you to get a piece of paper or pull out your phone and create a little note space. Start writing down the thoughts that you're having. All right. And so that's the first step, is awareness. Having awareness of your thoughts, because we cannot change what we're not aware of. So awareness is the first step to changing the results in your life. And so then we want to replace those thoughts. So when you have that list of the thoughts of those victim mentality, and let me stop here. Maybe every time I say victim, you're just cringing, right? Because that's how being a victim feels to me. It feels contractive, and it should feel contractive because it's not taking us anywhere, right? And so what is a victim mentality? A victim mentality is when we blame our external circumstances and we believe life is out of our control. Like it's just happening to us. And this leads us to feeling like we can't change our outcome. We're a victim in our life. But I want to tell you that it's okay if you're here. I'm not blaming you, and I'm not asking you to blame yourself. I'm inviting you to become aware. Just become aware. All right. So the next step is to reframe. We want to reframe these victim thoughts and create more empowered thoughts. So let's go back to me many, many years ago, being in New York, walking the streets, jobs are saying no, relationships are ending, all these different things are happening. And I just feel like life is attacking me. It's just, oh. So what is one thought that I'm having? One thought I'm having is, I'm looking at my job, right? Nobody wants to hire you. That's a victim thought that I'm having. Nobody wants to hire me. So if that's say, we're just going to use this as an example. Nobody wants to hire me. That's a victim thought. That is making me feel discouraged and frustrated and angry and just fed up with life. But what is another thought that I can have around that victim mentality to shift to a victor mentality, right? Because a victor mentality, the next step in that to me is with me. So if we're at that to me level, we want to take the next step up and feel that life is happening with me. And that means that I am co creating with life. And what happens when we go from that to me to with me? We start feeling more empowered. We feel like the actions we're taking is actually going to lead us somewhere. So, what we realize is that higher power, whatever we choose to call it, in this circumstance, I choose to call my higher power God, is that God is actually, I'm working with God. And so I'm surrendering my will and I'm starting to listen to what God's will is for me. And so let's go back to that moment where I'm in a position, I'm working as an IT recruiter, the dot-com bust happens, and I notice that I have a dream to move to the New York City area. I was living in DC, missed that little piece. I was living in DC, so I jet up to New York, go all the way up 95 to New York, don't have a job, start waitressing. I'm doing what I can with what I have, with where I am, and I'm interviewing for all these jobs, and it's no, 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 no. And so how can I shift, right? From that victim to victor. So there was that inkling of a dream. And in that mentality, I thought that dream was to drive me crazy. I was like, I feel this drive, but everywhere I'm going is a closed door. I'm feeling frustrated. Why is this happening? That's victim, right? So victor, moving to a victor mentality. So now I'm moving from to me to with me. Life is happening with me. So I'm starting to believe that, okay, my next thought that is victim is my dream is put in my heart to drive me crazy. What if, and this is where things started to shift. I'm walking down the street. What if dreams are put in my heart for a reason? What if that is like my North Star, my compass? And so that is the shift from life is happening to me, that life is happening with me. So now I replace that dreams are put in my heart to drive me crazy to dreams are put in my heart. Maybe dreams are put in my heart for a reason. And so then it starts opening it up and I'm like, okay, God, higher power, life breathing me. What do you want me to do? What is a step you want me to take? And so now I'm opening up my mind that life wants to help me out. And I can co-create with life this dream. And so that no jobs want to hire me is switched to what if every job that has said no is redirecting me to my purpose. And now I'm opening up the possibility that just the right job hasn't come along yet. And so shortly thereafter, I'm starting to bring new energy to the interviews. And I'm okay walking away from jobs that are not meeting my standards because I am starting to believe in myself and I'm starting to believe in the path and the journey that is before me. So that's the next step is to reframe. Then the third step is to start taking empowered action. So what does that mean? What does that mean, empowered action? So as we start to shift our vibration, we're going to me, to with me, we're starting to connect with our intuition because we feel like the forces that we can't see, but we know are there, are actually assisting us. So now, rather than being closed, we're opening ourselves up to ideas that are coming, to those to those, oh my gosh, that idea is a good idea. And we're starting to put those into action. So, what ended up happening to me is that I did say no actually to some creative jobs because I didn't feel like they met my standards. And unfortunately, September 11th had happened. So that like threw a whole wrench into the job market. And I was reading a book at a temp job that I had gotten called Rich Dad Poor Dad. And I started realizing that I had an interest in real estate. And I said, you know what? All these different industries are affected right now, but real estate is actually doing well. And so I received a job opportunity to work as an admin assistant in a very large real estate company in New York. And this would move me into a full time with benefits position in New York. So I could go into New York every day. I could quit my waitressing job because I wasn't trusting that my week to week temp job was going to be there. So I was still holding on to that. And I could move into a full time job in New York City, which that was moving towards my dream. It wasn't exactly my dream, but it was part of the process. And I said, what if, while all these other industries that are going through turbulence, while those are going through turbulence, I can learn about real estate because that's also part of my dream. And so I took that job, and that eventually moved me into a creative position. But it was a process. So it's really about opening up, right? Going through awareness, realizing if we're in a victim mindset, what are our thoughts? Writing those down, reframing those thoughts to more empowered thoughts so that we can open up our mindset and ourselves to assistance of unseen forces and start acting on our intuition. And that will start moving us towards a victor mindset. So if you love what you have heard, I am a coach and I am happy to assist you. There's actually two other steps towards moving into a victor. And I talk about this in the programs that I am certified to teach. So if you love what you heard today, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on my next video. I'm including a link in the description that you can schedule a complimentary call with me valued at $250. Is completely complimentary for you listening to my video today. And I really appreciate the time that you spent. I also want to applaud you in being here today because you're starting to listen to that victor mindset. You can do it. I believe in you.